What is up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had yourselves a great weekend. We are back with our episode 5 review of It. Welcome to Derry. I know pretty much things have been light on the podcast channel for the past couple of weeks. Just been very much busy with work, and then obviously the gaming channel also. But yeah, we are gonna let's jump into it. So this was actually we're about done because 3 more episodes. I believe there's 8 in this series. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it's 8. So what we got. Let's see. Well, uh, pretty sure there's. Okay, so obviously, yeah, there is 8. There is 8. So 3 more episodes and then we're done with season 1. And this one, so one of the things I was curious about all the way back with episode 1 was if they're, Bill Skarsgård was gonna, come back as Pennywise, or were they just going to do like just, you know, give the illusion that he's there, that kind of stuff, like everything Pennywise is doing and stuff like that. We wouldn't actually see Pennywise, but we know he's the one causing all the problems and stuff like that. But no, I'm jumping ahead of it a little bit, but no, we actually got to see Pennywise in episode 5. Now we did see a little bit like a silhouette of him in last week's episode, and then I think in like episode 3, when they took the no, it may have been episode 4 when they took the picture, and you could kind of clearly make out a clown Pennywise in it. Yeah, we actually got to see Pennywise in this series. I'm very surprised by it. I'm actually, obviously pleasantly happy about it. So basically the episode is finding the lair. So obviously last episode, Tanlin, uh this mine got invaded by Halloran. They were able to find a location. It is the house on Nebolt Street, which has appeared, I believe, in It Chapter 1 and 2. I don't know if it was in the original It. I don't really remember, but I do remember seeing it in those 2 particular films as well. So the house is sitting on a cave system that will lead you directly through the sewers to the location of like the pillars. So the plan is, uh, I forgot the major's name, but Halloran, Hanlon, Paulie, and a few other, like, red shirts, to put it lightly, are going to go into the sewers, locate them, and get them, basically capturing it. Now there is a conversation between Frances and Rose, when she finds out that they have her nephew. And so Francis, because previously when we saw him, because he talked about how, when he came back to Derry, all those memories started to come back about their summer they had together, or like, that time they spent together. Well, no, it happened a lot further than that, because Francis mentions that the Department of Defense gave him like administered a drug to him. I'm not sure what kind of drug it was. He just says they administered a drug to him, and everything that he remembered from his time with Rose and Derry all came flooding back. He was able to remember everything. And so what they're trying to do is, like, he even mentions it to Rose. He's like, I'll try to figure out an answer to the question, like, how can we keep this country safe? And then Rose comes to the realization, like, and basically says you can't put a leash on it. Like, it's some kind of guard dog that you have full control over. Um, Meanwhile, with Lily, Ronnie, Rich, and Will, and now Marge is involved, because obviously at the end, you know, even though I'm surprised Lily wasn't like arrested or anything like that. Marge did tell people that, like, her glasses broke and cut her eye, and Lily was only trying to help. Now, obviously, probably whether you believe that or not, if you're one of the people in Derry, you know, it is what it is. But Now, Mar, like I give Marge a hard time, but after what she's been through, I can maybe like cut her some slack, I guess. But so now she's part of the group basically, and they're all talking about what the plan is, or like what the next step is, and then they hear like a coughing coming from like a tent in the back, and it turns out it is Maddie. Somehow Maddie was able to escape, and he told everybody about uh, how Teddy was already dead. Susie was alive, but it left her there bleeding out, crying until she didn't anymore. But Phil was still alive. So they come up with a plan. We got to go into the sewer. We got to get Phil. Now, Maddie's like freaking out. No, he's like, if we go to the cops, um, they're just gonna send me back to my dad and stuff and that kind of stuff. And um, so Lily goes and meets Mrs. Kirsch and talks with her and everything. Um, Basically, just kind of like, promise me you won't go down in the sewer, that kind of stuff. Interesting thing about Mrs. Kirsch we'll get to in a second. Um, so 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 Hanlon moves his wife and son to the base. Uh, Hank Grogan gets put on the bus to Shawshank Penitentiary. But his bus crashes. Um, Come to find out, because obviously you remember he told Charlotte, Hanlon's wife, that he was with somebody that night. Now he wasn't where he said he was. He was with somebody. He was with a white woman. Come to find out, it is Mrs. Kirsch, who he was having a secret relationship with, which is why Grogan talked about, like, he is worried for her, especially if her husband finds out. Now her husband is I think the butcher that we saw in two, episode two, I think it was. It seemed like a nice guy at that moment, but then you kind of see him in this moment where he's just like, "Where's my steak? Don't overcook it this time." And it's just like, oh, he's one of these kind of guys. That sucks for her. It's because she seems like a nice woman. Now, a lot of people were talking about, like on TikTok, about Mrs. Kirsch because it may have just been a weird camera thing that they did, but they kind of positioned her in last week's episode where like her and Lily are in the diner talking. You can see Lily's reflection, but you couldn't see her reflection. So a lot of people thought this was maybe Pennywise in disguise because he can disguise himself as people and stuff like that. Now we do come to find out he did that in this episode, but that was just something that people were talking about. So uh, Grogan basically tells Mrs. Kirsch to go and find Charlotte. She's someone who can help. So that's that for that particular story plot. Now Hanlon and Lily's side of things, they both kind of converge in this moment. Um, so Rose goes and visits Hanlon, and basically he is going to lead them to where they want to go. She gives him the artifact that's basically going to provide protection for him because they're basically just going to go, and I guess the plan was to lead them down there to Pennywise and let Pennywise kill all of them, and then Hanlon will just leave because he'll be protected by the piece of the fragment. That seems to be what the plan was. So obviously the plan doesn't go well because they all go down onto Nebel Street, go into the sewers, start breaking away, and they slowly one by one they start getting picked off. Halloran uh, has this hallucination where he seems to have a box that maybe contains his greatest fear or something. I'm not too sure what this box is, but he was very desperate on not allowing this box to be open. So I'm curious on what's that about, man. Obviously, we should get some clarity because at the end it just shows him walking out of the sewer. Uh, Now we do see him looking at a dead person. Is this part of like his fear that was locked away in a box or something like that? But at the end we see like the box glowing and everything. So I am curious about this box and about Halloran. What's going on with that? So um, and then the kids they take their turn and they go into the sewers. They take some of Lily's mom's drugs and they start tripping out with Maddie leading the way until they get to a point to where they come across the bodies of Teddy, Susie, Phil, and Maddie, and that is when we get the reveal that this fake Maddie is actually Pennywise, and he sings this little song, and we actually get to see him, like I said at the beginning, which was very 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 surprising, but very very cool to see. And so he basically starts chasing the kids and that kind of thing. Uh, Tanlin escapes, but he drops the artifact, but he escapes through the sewers, leaving everybody else behind. And then it gets to a point to where, because Lily gets separated from everybody, and then Paulie gets shot because earlier in the episode, um, it was just Hanlon and Paulie. They were walking together, and a vision of, not a vision, but a manifestation of Charlotte, which we know is Pennywise, shows up. Hanlon can see it, but Paulie can't see it. So that kind of plays into at the end here because they both found a way